Hi everybody, it's Marty Hosking back with you again here, Keller Williams, Greater Omaha. I promised you last time we'd talk a little bit more. We did talk about how to get your house ready to sell on the inside. Now we're going to talk about how to get your house ready to sell from the outside looking in. So let's talk about that for a minute. So we call it, a lot of times we call it curb appeal. The idea is that the process of buying a house, and this can apply to both the interior and the exterior, by the way. The process of buying a house is an emotional process. There's a saying out there that people buy emotionally and they justify it rationally. And I think that's true about everything, about buying a car, buying a house, major things. We want to feel good. We want to get excited about it. We want to feel like it creates a story. It creates a theme. It creates a kind of a lifestyle, if you will. And I know some people are like, they should just be able to figure that out on their own, or they should be able to imagine it. Well, they can't. A lot of us can't, or if we can, it's just so much easier if it's already done for us. And I'll tell you, when you hit that emotional point, people are going to respond. So how do you do that on the exterior of the house? Straightforward, just like the interior, your least expensive way of getting the house looking better is going to be paint. So this is where we focus on, you might change the whole theme of the house with just paint. Painting the trim a different color, painting the shutters a different color, and if nothing else, making sure that there's no chipping paint, there's nothing that looks bedraggled or worn out on the outside. Maybe there's faded paint. Maybe you need to refresh the color to make sure that's bright. These are the sort of things that we call curb appeal that are actually going to get that first impression. Remember, the first impression isn't inside the house. The first impression is when they're walking up to the house. So what are some other things that you might think of like doing if you were to be trying to impress people when they're walking up to the house? Besides the paint, besides the shutters, the trim, how about the landscaping? How about, and when we say landscaping, that's a broad term. I think of like $1 million landscapes down at, West Palm Beach. Okay, well that's great, but we don't have to have that to have that emotional touch. I think, my experience is that people are, when they're feeling better about the landscape, what it is, it's the grass is cut and it's trimmed. There's the edges on these concrete and the sidewalk are trimmed back. There's not grass growing over the edges. The garden itself is weeded. There's no weeds there. Maybe we throw some extra mulch down around there to make sure that it looks neat and clean. We trim the bushes, and I'm trying to think of what else what we could do. Well, and then as we get close to the house, the other thing that we would want to try to do is, what is going to be that experience of them actually walking in the door? And this is so key. First of all, from the street, how does the door look? Do we have a beautiful front door and it's covered up by a nasty screen door? In a house we were listing just recently, we literally removed, it was a double door on a pretty majestic house. I had beautiful hand-carved doors that were double doors, and they were all covered up with storm doors on such a majestic home. So what we did is we simply took the storm doors completely off. And you might say, well, they might want those. Yeah, we'll put them in the garage and they can get them after they buy the house. But what we want them to do is we want them to feel, they want them to see the beauty of the house. We don't want them to be distracted or blocked by what is beautiful and it's already there. And typically for a lot of people, that's their front door. And that's where you can put a pop of color and a really good fresh coat of paint, even if you don't touch anything else. That's going to be something they're going to be super close to. That's something they're going to be able to touch. We want that looking really clean, sharp, and good. And we want that door to feel easy to use. We want to feel like it seals and closes properly. The whole works. So if that means removing your screen door, go ahead and do it just for the sale of the house. The other part is the doorknob itself has to be working. If it's loose and falling off, it already kind of just sets in people's minds emotionally this idea that they brace themselves for what else is broken on the house. It's just what it is. I don't need to go into the psychology of it, but you need to invest in a new lock set and make that look heavy, clean, neat, and functional. And that's going to make a really, really great first impression. So that's all I wanted to say about curb appeal for now. There's other things that we can talk about, but those are the major things about curb appeal that I wanted to mention. So if you have any more questions about it, though, if you want to just talk or have a cup of coffee and talk more about it, or you want me to come out and check out your house, I love doing that. I love being consulted on this because I like to think I know what I'm doing with that. maybe people would differ on that, but my mom always said that I was really good with this. So let me know. Let's talk.